Hello students and welcome back to our class. This is 3416 Therapeutic Modalities. We have here from the Ulo A and this is the part 5 of our lesson. So we start with what are the rights of a person during custodial investigation. Okay? When we say about custodial investigation, ibig sabihin nun, a person has been invited into the police station for an investigation. Who will investigate the person that has been invited, no? Okay? So, the police officer will investigate the police that has been invited. Okay? The invited one may be the suspect, no? Or a witness. So, he has a rights. So, he has rights also, no? When he is undergoing a custodial investigation. One of which is the right to be informed of his rights. Then the next one, the right to remain silent and to be reminded that anything he says can be and will be used against him. We also have the right to an attorney or to counsel, preferably of his own choice, and if not, one will be provided for him. Another one is rights against torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which may vitiate the free will of the person. Another one is the right against secret detention, places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention. So these are mostly common to you because these are the what we call the Miranda rights. Okay? Now we have here RA 7438 or an act defining certain rights of persons who are being arrested, detained, or under custodial investigation, as well as the duties of the arresting, detaining, and investigating officers, and providing penalties for violations thereof. Okay, no? So, RA 7438, no, is yung mga inilathala doon yung mga karapatan ng mga taong inaresto or yung mga dinitain. Okay? And those people who are also on custodial investigation. Okay? So, here's the link that you can find RA 7438 for further information. We have here the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the Treatment of Prisoners, and this is known also as the Nelson Mandela Rules. We have here rules of general application. So rule number 1, all prisoners shall be treated with the respect due to the inherent dignity and value as human beings. Okay? You should never treat a person who is deprived of liberty, no, ng violence. Okay? You should always value him as a human being. You should also treat him as a person, no? Because even though he is deprived of liberty, no, he still breathes the same air as we are. No, he still has his rights, but he is confined. Okay? No prisoner shall be subjected to, and all prisoners shall be protected from torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Okay? For which no circumstances whatsoever may be invoked as a justification. No, hindi ibig sabihin na nakakulong siya, pwede mo na siyang gamitan ng force, violent force, or pwede mo na siyang bugbugin kasi nagkasala nga siya. Hindi iyon pwede. No? Inhumane. Ibig sabihin, Huwag mong tratuhin siya na parang hindi siya tao. Okay? So you should treat him accordingly to his rights, no? As a right person, okay? The right that we have is the right that a convicted person also has or have. Okay? So, the safety and security of prisoners, staff, service providers, and visitors shall be ensured at all times. Okay? So, dapat safe yung prisoners, safe din ng ating tagabantay. Also, including the staff of the penitentiary office. Okay? So, yung PDL, persons deprived of liberty, are there, no? They are there to provide reformation and rehabilitation for our brothers and sisters who are convicted. So they are there to help, but also make them feel that they are a part, no, of a brotherlyhood, sisterlyhood, no, with, even though they are inside the prison cell. We have here Rule 2. Okay? The present rules shall be applied impartially. What do you mean by impartially? No? Dapat it is whole. Dili siya partial. Dili lang. Ibig sabihin nga katunga ra imong gihatag nga human rights, no? Kay lagi he is convicted, but no, you should give his rights, no, as fully as it can be. But they also have limitations, no? We have this what we call na leniency, okay? We have to be also lenient to them, okay? Because they are inside in the prison cells to be reformed, not to be violently addressed, no? There shall be no distinction on the grounds of race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or any other status. Okay, what do you mean by this? You should always not treat a person by his or her color, race, etc. and like that, okay? Now, kahit na anumang paniniwala ng isang PDL, no, you should never treat him as out of place, okay? Kung ikaw, isa kang a jailer, no, you are one of the staff, no, sa penitentiary office, no, sa correctional facility, no, you should always treat them equally, no? It doesn't matter na kung ano yung race niya, whether he is an IP, whether he's Bisaya, whether he's Tagalog, or what belief does he have or has, no, whether he's INC, whether he's an Islam, whether he's a Catholic, whether he is a Christian. No, you should respect him because that is his belief. Okay? So, that is their religious beliefs and the perception. So, you should respect one of their, each of their beliefs, no? So, walay labaw-labaw kay kung pareha mo religion, kung pareha mo Christian, mas palangga nimo ni nga prisoner kay Christian. So katong Catholic dili nimo siya palangga kay di man mo pareha. Okay? So it is not like that. You treat them as equally as one another. We have also here rule number 3, imprisonment and other measures that result in cutting off persons from outside world are afflictive by the very fact of taking from these persons the right of self-determination by depriving them on their liberty. Okay, so The prisoners also has the right not to be visited with their loved ones. So you allow them, but the implications are you follow the rules, no, the guidelines of the correctional facilities. We have here rule number 4, or the purposes of a sentence of imprisonment or similar measures deprivative of persons' liberty are primarily to protect society against crime and to reduce recidivism. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, ang rule ng ating correctional facility, no, is to deprive a person's liberty. Ibig sabihin, no, ating yung kalayaan ng isang tao na convicted ay pansamantalang pinutol natin. Paano? Nilagay natin sila sa correctional facility. Bakit nandun sila sa correctional facility? That is to rehabilitate and reform them, no? Tuturuan natin sila kung paano ba, no? Bakit nila nagawa yung kasalanan nila? Okay, we have to put them into therapy, no? So, we have to socially incline them. So, para magbalik yung pakikipagkapwa nila, okay? So, we have to prepare them to reintegrate again to the fifth pillar of the CJS, which is the community. Okay? So, also, the role of the correctional facility is to reduce recidivism or yung pabalik-balik na pag-commit nila ng crime na yun. Okay? Those purposes can be achieved only if the period of imprisonment is used to ensure so far as possible the reintegration of such persons into society upon release so that they can lead a law-abiding and self-supporting life. Okay? So, kapag na-rehabilitate, na-reform na natin sila sa loob ng correctional facility, they can now, after their sentence, they can now go back to the community where they used to belong, no? So, when they return to the community, no, the role of the community itself is to accept the PDL. How can we learn to accept them, no? By treating them, no, as a part again of the community. Okay, we don't discriminate them. If they need our help, we help them, no? One of which is to give them a self-supporting life, no, or work, so they can get to start back again, no, their track of lives. Okay, we help them through that. So we have programs, no, the community has programs na to help those people who are out of prison. Okay? We have here rule number 5, or the prison regime should seek to minimize any differences between prison life and life at the liberty that tend to lessen the responsibility of the prisoners or the respect due to their dignity as human beings. Okay? So, di ibig sabihin na nasa correctional facility ka na ay pinandidirian ka na ng tao. Okay? You were just at the wrong track of your life, so you committed that crime, no? So, ginawa ng government is to help you to restart your life, kumbaga, no? So, ang dapat mong gawin as a PDL also is to refresh your life, no, so you can be back at the community again. Okay, you also have to discipline yourself. You also need to think of what you've done, no, so that when you get back to the community, you will not do it again. You will be a good citizen now to the community. Rule number 6. There shall be standardized prisoner file management system in every place where persons are imprisoned. Okay, so dapat may system sila para makilala natin kung sino-sino yung mga naka-enroll sa ating correctional facility. Such a system may be electronic, database, or records, or a registration book with numbered and signed pages. So procedures shall be in place to ensure a secure audit trail and to prevent unauthorized access to or a modification of any information contained in the system. We have here rule number 7, no person shall be received in a prison without any valid commitment order. How will you know if that person is to be convicted in the correctional facility? By having to find out if he has a commitment order. Ibig sabihin ng commitment order, an order from the court, no, that he is really a convicted person, that he has been judged by the court beyond reasonable doubt. Rule number 8. So, prisoner's personal information shall be entered in the prisoner file management system in the course of imprisonment. So, pagkapasok ni PDL doon sa ating correctional facility, no? So, dapat i-encode lahat ng kanyang information sa system, no? Sa kanilang database. We have here rule number 9. All records referred to in Rule 7 and 8 shall be kept confidential and made available only to those whose professional responsibilities require access to such records. So every prisoner shall be granted to access the records pertaining to him or her subjectory actions authorized under domestic legislation and shall be entitled to receive an official copy of such records upon his or her release. Okay, so lahat ng mga records ni PDL sa correctional facility should be kept confidential. So, hindi pwedeng ibahagi or i-share nyo on any platforms without proper na authorization. So, who can get the authorized copy, no? Only those na with official na mga access na reasons para maka-access ng kanyang record. So, one of which is the PDL himself or herself. We have here rule number 10. So, the prisoner file management system shall be used to generate reliable data about trends relating to the characteristics of the prison population, including occupancy rates, in order to create a basis of evidence-based decision making. So, we have here separation of categories still in the rules of general application. Rule 11, the different categories of prisoners shall be kept in separate institutions. So, ibig sabihin, iba ang correctional facility ng male, iba ang correctional facility ng male. Okay? Rule number 12, where sleeping accommodation is individual cells or a room, each prisoner shall occupy a night cell or room by himself or herself. If for special reasons, such a temporary overcrowding, it becomes necessary for the Central Prison Administration to make an exception to this rule. So, it is not desirable to have 2 prisoners in a cell or room. So, dito sa Philippines, we only have 7 correctional facilities, no? So, ibig sabihin nun, they cannot accommodate those a vast number of PDLs. So, hindi nasusunod ang ating 1 PDL per room. No, instead, marami sila sa isang room because of overcrowding. But then again, no, they need to be accommodated, no? So, we still don't have resources not to create another correctional facility here in the Philippines. No, maybe soon enough, no, for na mag-create sila ng another correctional institution for having addressed this issue, no, ba na maraming PDL sa isang cell. Okay? We have here Rule 13, all accommodation provided for the use of prisoners, and particular, all sleeping accommodation shall meet all requirements of health, due regard being paid to climatic conditions and particularly to cubic content of air, minimum floor space, lighting, heating, and ventilation. Okay, so dapat ang mga rooms na ay electric fan and so, but here in the Philippines, most likely, no, overcrowded ang ating correctional facilities. So, hindi nasusunod lahat ng rooms na mayroong proper ventilation, lighting, and heating. So, usually, they only have one electric fan or wala talaga. Okay? Rule number 14, in all places where prisoners are required to live or work, so the window shall be large enough to enable the prisoners to read and work by natural light, and shall be so constructed that they can allow the entrance of fresh air whether or not there is artificial ventilation. Letter B, artificial light shall be provided sufficient for the prisoners to read or work, so they are sufficient for the prisoners to read or work without injury to eyesight. So, ibig sabihin nun, kapag ang isang correctional facility daw, dapat meron siyang proper ventilation, no? Or sufficient light, no? Para if ever naman gusto mag-read ni prisoner sa loob ng cell, so makakapagbasa siya without ruining his or her eyesight. Here in Rule 15, the sanitary installation shall be adequate to enable every prisoner to comply the needs of nature when necessary and in a clean, decent manner. Or kailangan mayroong CR, no? In other words. We have here Rule 16. So, adequate bathing and shower installations. Ibig sabihin, no, dapat may CR na paliguan ang ating mga PDL. So, Rule 17, all parts of a prison regular use by prisoner shall be properly maintained and kept scrupulously clean at all times. So, ibig sabihin yung kanilang, kumbaga, waiting area or like so, dapat malinis yun, no? So, dapat nililinisan yun to maintain their cleanliness, no? Para hindi magkasakit. Have rule number 18. So, ibig sabihin ang lahat ng ating prisoners, no, shall require to have proper hygiene. So, kailangan nilang maligo. Okay, so they should be provided with water, no, inside the correctional facility. Rule number 19. So, every prisoner who is not allowed to wear his or her clothing shall be provided with an outfit of clothing suitable for the climate and adequate to keep him or her in good health. So, ibig sabihin nun, no, kasi naman sa loob ng correctional facility, hindi pwedeng magsuot ka lang ng kahit na anong-anong kulay. Kasi we have to follow the color coding, no? So, we have orange for maximum, blue for medium, gray for, yun, like that. Okay? Rule number 20, if prisoners are allowed to wear their own clothing, arrangements shall be made on their admission to the prison to ensure that they shall be clean and fit for use. So, if i-allow naman na pwede nilang gamitin yung kanilang mga damit, no, for everyday use, so it should be arranged by the admin inside the correctional facility. We have here Rule 21. Every prisoner shall, in accordance with local or national standards, be provided with a separate bed and with separate and sufficient bedding. Okay, ibig sabihin, no, kailangan yung ating mga PDL may kanya-kanyang sariling higaan. But, yun na nga, overcrowded tayo dito sa Philippines ang ating PDLs, no, kasi so we have only 7 institutional correctional facilities. So, hindi na a-apply ang separate bed. So, usually, tabi-tabi sila sa isang bed or tatlo sila, apat. So, ganon yung arrangement natin. But hopefully soon, makakonstruct ng another correctional facility to address this issue. We have here, no, the food, no, Rule 22, every prisoner shall be provided by the prison administration at the usual hours with food of nutritional value. So, ibig sabihin, no, kailangan din i-provide ng ating correctional facility ang pagkain ng ating mga prisoners. But here in the Philippines, it is not commonly followed kasi usually ang nagbibigay ng pagkain is yung family ni PDL. Okay? So, drinking water shall be available to every prisoner whenever he or she needs it, exercise, and support. Okay? So, sa correctional facility din, kailangan ng drinkable water, no, para mainom nila PDL. And also, they can also access, no, the freedom of exercise and also the freedom to do sports inside the correctional facility. We have here Rule 22. So, every prisoner shall be provided by the prison administration at the usual hours with food and nutritional value. So, again, that's rule number 22. Now, we have Rule 23. So, Rule 23, Paragraph 1, ibig sabihin, kapag si prisoner is hindi siya na-employ outdoor, no, with outdoor work, kasi yung prisoners natin or yung PDLs natin, no, they are assigned to specific work outside their prison cell. So, kapag hindi yun applicable, no, bibigyan siya ng open air daily if the weather permits. No, pwede siyang makapag-exercise sa labas ng cell niya. So, in paragraph 2 of Rule 23, so young prisoners and other suitable age and physique, ibig sabihin, no, physically fit pa sila, shall receive physical and recreational training during the period of exercise. To this end, space, installations, and equipment should be provided. Kapag gusto nilang mag-exercise, they're given those things that is necessary doing exercise. For example, kung may stead music correctional facility, they can use the treadmill. Kung may dumbbell, they can use the dumbbell. We have here Rule 24. So, this is healthcare services, no? So, the prisoner should enjoy the same standards of healthcare at the inside the correctional facility. So, even though they are locked up, no, inside the correctional facility, they also should be given a proper healthcare inside the correctional facility that is that are also available in the community. Okay, so they should have to freely access that, no, the healthcare. So it is free of charge. Okay, so the healthcare inside the correctional facility is free without discrimination on the grounds of their legal status. So we have here the restrictions, discipline, and sanctions of the PDL. So in Rule 36, no, so the disciplinary action shall be imposed inside the correctional facility, but with no more than hard discipline, no. So hindi pwede yung grabe yung pagdiscipline nyo, no, when you're using too much force, no. So it should be less lang, lenient lang inyong pagdiscipline, no, just to maintain peace and order inside the prison cell or the correctional facility. So we have here Rule 47, no, instruments of restraint. So you are not usually allowed to use those if na sila sa sulod lang sa prison cell or sa correctional facility. So this is usually used, no, when they are transported outside, no, when they're going to attend hearings, or if it is really necessary talaga na to use those kind of restraints, no. So it is degrading to the part of the PDL, and also it is also prohibited, no, without necessary nga mag-use sila og instruments of restraints. So we have here Rule 50, no, searches of prisoners and cells. So pwede kayong mag-search ng prison cell ng prisoners, no, monthly, no. So when you are in an intern, you can experience those things, no, kasi nga nagjo-duty na kayo on field. Okay, so if you are also searching their cells, no, you should always keep in mind na um, no, searches shall be conducted in a manner that is respectful to the individual being searched. Okay, you should search them properly. So do not touch their private parts, no, because that is inhuman. So that is wrong. Okay, as well as the principles of proportionality, legality, and necessity. So, kung nasa-search kayo, nababody search kayo ng inmate, no, you should never ever put something inside or his pocket, pakalagyan niyo ng droga or anything that is contraband, okay? So, as a jailer, no, you should know those things. We have here information to and complaints by prisoners. So Rule 54, upon admission, every prisoner shall be promptly provided with written information about the prison law and applicable prison regulations. I have here letter B, his or her rights, including authorized methods of seeking information, access to legal advice, including through legal aid schemes and procedures for making a request or complaints. Letter C, his or her obligations, including applicable disciplinary sanctions. And D, all the matters necessary to enable the prisoner to adapt himself or herself to life of the prison. We have here Rule 58, contact with outside world. So prisoners shall be allowed under necessary supervision to communicate with their family and friends at regular intervals. So pwede nyo bisitahin ang mga PDL na family nyo inside the correctional facility but with intervals. Hindi pwede na bisitahin nyo siya every day kasi we have a schedule for that. Okay? Now, by corresponding and writing and using where available telecommunication, electronic, digital, and other means, and by receiving visits. You can contact the PDL inside the correctional facility. You can contact through writing, but necessary things are applied if and ever magpapadala kayo ng sulat, so that will be opened before isi-send kay PDL kasi maybe there are hidden na mga meaning, so i-decipher pa yan ng ating document analyst, doon sa loob ng correctional facility. Okay, have here Rule 64 on books. Every prison shall have a library for the use of all categories of prisoners, adequately stocked with both recreational and instructional books, and prisoners shall be encouraged to make full use of it. So here in the Philippines, I have never known na prison facility na may a library sa loob ng correctional facility, So dito sa atin kasi nga hindi masyadong malalaki ang ating correctional facility, so hindi na bibigyan ng exact na so walang budget for a library inside the prison, but mostly outside of the country, our neighboring countries, they have this kind of library inside their correctional facilities. But as I've said, hopefully soon mabibigyan ng attention yung need ng ating mga PDL, because they are also a part of the community, so we must give them the right to read books. But if ever when their families are very mabait, so kung gusto nila magbigay ng books, mag-donate to read for the PDLs to read inside the correctional facility, well, maybe that could be considered, depende na yan sa head ng ating correctional facility. But the prisoner itself or the PDL, pwede silang magbasa ng libro. We have here Rule 65, okay? So, religion, okay? So, if the prison contains a sufficient number of prisoners of the same religion, a qualified representative of that religion shall be appointed or approved, and if the number of prisoners justifies it and conditions permit, the arrangement should be on the full-time basis. For example lang, so most of the religion here in the Philippines are Catholics. So if ever no may maraming Catholics sa loob ng uh, prison cell or correctional facility, no, so they can form, no, and they can perform their religion together. So if ever meron din tayong mga Islam brothers and sisters, no, they can also pray, no, with their group, no, without discriminating each other. Okay? We have here Rule 67, retention of prisoners' property. All money, valuables, clothing, and other effects belonging to a prisoner, which he or she is not allowed to retain under the prison regulations, shall on us or his admission to the prison be placed in safe custody. An inventory thereof shall be signed by the prisoner. Steps shall be taken to keep them in good condition. Ibig sabihin, kapag si prisoner, no, if he is admitted inside the correctional facility, if he brought a money, uh, a gold watch, a ring, a necklace, no, so it should be accounted, okay? So yung money niya, no, and belongings ay pwede niyang i-deposit doon sa correctional facility. So, it should be kept in safe custody. And then, it should be signed by the prisoner kung ano yung mga iniwan niya dyan. Parang baggage counter lang. Pero makukuha mo na siya at the end of your sentence, no? If graduate ka na as a PDL. No? So, hindi pwedeng kunin yun ni jailer at iprenda. Okay? That is not allowed. So, you should keep that in custody. We have here notifications, Rule 68. Every prisoner shall have the right and shall be given the ability and means to inform immediately his or her family or any other person designated as a contact person about his or her imprisonment, about his or her transfer to another institution, and about any serious illness or injury. The sharing of prisoners' personal information shall be subject to domestic legislation. Okay, so if ever naman na si prisoner ay ipatransfer ng ibang correctional facility, no, the immediate family shall be contacted. So, sasabihan niya ang kanyang immediate family. So, dapat may contact number. But then again, those information shall be kept confidential. If ever naman, nagtamo ng injury si PDL sa loob ng correctional facility, so the immediate family should be accounted, no? So, they shall be informed. So, if ever naman, kapag these are violated, so there are legislations and measurements to be applied if nag-leak ang information ni PDL. Now we have here Rule 71, investigations. Notwithstanding the initiation of an internal investigation, the prison director shall report without delay any custodial death, disappearance, or serious injury to the judicial or other competent authority that is independent of the prison administration and mandated to conduct prompt, impartial, and effective investigations into the circumstances and causes of such cases. The prison administration shall fully cooperate with that authority and ensure that will evidence is preserved. If ever naman, no, may nawalang PDL, no, kung may nasaktang PDL or kung may namatay na PDL inside the correctional facility, okay, so there should be an investigation conducted, no? So it shall be conducted by the right persons, okay? So, kailangan si prison director or the head of the correctional facility shall inform, no, the immediate family and the higher authorities for that. And all the evidences that are being gathered should be preserved. Now we have here removal of prisoners, Rule 73. When prisoners are being removed to or from an institution, they shall be exposed to public view as little as possible, and proper safeguards shall be adopted to protect them from insult, curiosity, and publicity in any form. So, for example, kapag imove natin si PDL, no? So, hindi natin siya bigyan ng sapat na guards with him. Kasi nga, baka bugbugin siya. For example, he committed murder talaga, no? So, baka magkaroon ng um, paghihigante yung ano natin, retaliants, no? Mag-retaliate yung kabilang parte ng victim. So, kailangan natin siyang bigyan ng correct security measures, no? Para hindi siya mabugbog or anything like that. No? So, number two, the transport of prisoners in conveyances with inadequate ventilation or light or any which would subject them to unnecessary physical hardship shall be prohibited. Okay, so dapat din kapag na-transport tayo ng prisoners, wag yung close na parang hindi na makakahinga yung ating prisoner. So they should be on a well-ventilated na sasakyan. Okay? Number three, the transport of prisoners shall be carried out at the expense of the prison administration and equal conditions shall apply to all of them. So kapag itra-transport natin si prisoner, yung perang gagamitin, no, is doon sa prison administration or yung mga expenses, yung gasolina and all. We have here institutional personnel. Rule 74. The prison administration shall provide for the careful selection of every grade of the personnel since its honor, integrity, humanity, professional capacity, and personal suitability for the work that the proper administration of prison depends. Ibig sabihin, no, kapag tayo ay nag-hire ng mga uh, correctional officers, no, dapat they are well prepared, well disciplined, at saka they have this humane na katangian, okay? Para they will treat the PDL with respect, no, as they respect their selves. We have here international and external inspections. Rule 83. There shall be a twofold system for regular inspections of prison and penal services. So we have here internal or administrative inspections conducted by Central Prison Administration. We have here B, external inspections conducted by a body independent of the prison administration, which may include competent international or regional bodies. We have also here number 2, still in Rule 83. In both cases, the objective of the inspection shall be to ensure that prisons are managed in accordance with existing laws, regulations, policies, and procedures with a view to bringing about the objectives of penal and corrections services and that the rights of prisoners are protected. So they're just there to inspect if the correctional facility follows the rules and regulations, no, of this uh, rules, no, inside the correctional facility. So they're just there to inspect, no, if they follow the human rights of each and every PDL. Kung wala bang inaabuso and all. We have here rules applicable to special categories. So prisoners under sentence guiding principles. Rule 86, the guiding principles hereafter are intended to show spirit in which penal institutions should be administered and the purposes at which they should aim in accordance with the declaration made under preliminary observation of these rules. We have Rule 91. Okay, treatment. The treatment of persons sentenced to imprisonment or a similar measure shall have its purpose, so far as the length of the sentence permits, to establish in them the will to lead law-abiding and self-supporting lives after their release and to fit them to do so. The treatment shall be such as will encourage their self-respect and develop their purpose of classification and shall be to separate from others those prisoners who, by reason of their criminal records or characteristics, are likely to exercise a bad influence. Ibig sabihin nun, no? So, kapag yung isang PDL natin ay BI or bad influence, no, they will take into action the correctional facility officers will take action, no, para ma-discipline siya at hindi siya maka-inject ng bad influence to the other PDLs. Okay, so letter B, to divide the prisoners into classes in order to facilitate their treatment with a view to their social rehabilitation. So, iba-iba yung ating way ng pag-rehabilitate ng ating mga PDLs, no? So, we will classify them according to their social rehabilitation needs. For example, yung need ng ating specific na mga PDL dito is therapy. So because kasi nga they were for example, mga battered wives, no? So maraming nakapatay sila ng kanilang husband kasi nga they were physically abused, mentally abused by their husbands, no? So ang ginawa sa kanila, they will undergo a therapeutic medicine, no, para mawala yung kanilang trauma as well as mabalik ang confidence nila sa kanilang sarili, okay? Now, so far, as possible, separate prisons or separate sections of a prison shall be used for the treatment of different classes of prisoners. We have here prisoners under sentence guiding principle privileges on Rule 95. So systems of privileges appropriate for the different classes of prisoners and the different methods of treatment shall be established at every prison. In order to encourage good conduct, develop a sense of responsibility, and secure the interest and cooperation of prisoners in their treatment. We have here prisoners under sentence, guiding principles, and under work. We have here Rule 96, sentence prisoners shall have the opportunity to work, no, and actively participate in their rehabilitation, subject to determination of physical and mental fitness by a physician or other qualified healthcare professional. So, ibig sabihin, si PDL pwedeng magtrabaho sa labas ng kanyang prison cell but within the premises of the correctional facility. Okay, but then again, he should be physically fit and mentally fit, no? That is determined by the physician inside the correctional facility or other professionals who has the capability to examine the physique of the PDL. Now we have here education and recreation. That is Rule 104. So provision shall be made for the further education of the prisoners capable of profiting thereby, including religious instruction in the countries where there is possible. The education of illiterate prisoners and of young prisoners shall be compulsory and special attention shall be paid to it by the prison administration. Ibig sabihin, no, pwedeng mag-aral sa loob ng correctional facility si PDL. So, it should be sponsored, no, by the correctional facility or other persons, okay? So, that is pwede. Okay, that is education. Now we have here social relations and aftercare. So Rule 106. So, special attention shall be paid to the maintenance and improvement of such relations. We have here Rule 109. So persons who are found to be not criminally responsible or who are later diagnosed with severe mental disabilities or health conditions for whom staying in prison would mean an exacerbation of their condition. So palalain, no, ang kanilang kondisyon, who shall not be detained in prisons, and arrangements shall be made to transfer them to mental health facilities as soon as possible. So yung iba, no, na they are being judged with a file conviction, no. So if na enroll talaga sila sa correctional facility, then afterwards, no, they found out na may sakit talaga siya sa utak, no, they will be withdrawn from the correctional facility, but they will be admitted to a mental hospital or mental health facilities. We have here prisoners under arrest or awaiting trial. Rule 111. Persons arrested or imprisoned by reason of a criminal charge against them who are detained either in police custody or in prison custody or jail but have not yet been tried and sentenced will be referred to as untried prisoners hereinafter these rules. So, unconvicted prisoners are presumed to be innocent and shall be treated as such. So, meron tayong mga prisoners na hindi pa sila natatry sa court but then again, nasa loob na sila ng correctional facilities. But they should also be treated, no, as respected as regular person. Okay? What do you mean by regular person? Yung mga taong hindi convicted. Now, without prejudice to legal rules for the protection of individuals' liberty or prescribing the procedure to be observed in respect of untried prisoners, these prisoners shall be benefit from a special regime which is described in the following rules and its essential requirements only. Okay, we have here civil prisoners. The Rule 121. In countries where the law permits imprisonment for death, or by order of the court under any other non-criminal process, persons so imprisoned shall not be subjected to any greater restriction or severity than is necessary to ensure safe custody and good order. Their treatment shall not be less favorable than that of untried prisoners, with reservation, however, that they may be possibly required to work. Persons arrested or detained without charge. Rule 122. Without prejudice to the provisions of this Article 9 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, persons arrested or imprisoned without charge shall be accorded the same protection as the accord under Part 1 and Part 2, Section C of these rules. Relevant provisions of Part 2, Section A of this rule shall likewise be applicable, where their application may be conducive to the benefit of the special group of persons in custody, provided that no measure shall be taken implying that the re-education or rehabilitation is in any way appropriate of persons not convicted of any criminal offense. Okay, ibig sabihin nun, may mga tao na inaresto and then they are being detained no, inside the correctional facility but they are not convicted, no? So, wala sila gi-convict sa court, no, they were not fully applied with a charge. Okay, so they can also have the same uh, way, no, nga kung unsa gitreat ang atong mga PDLs, but then again they are not yet convicted by a final conviction. So they are also there, no, para ma-reintegrate or ma-rehabilitate sa community. Well, that ends the Ulo A, part 5 of our CRE 416. Thank you for listening. I hope you've learned something. I will see you in my next class. Thank you and goodbye.